Today, I want to talk about the things that psychics don't talk about. Sometimes not even with ourselves. Sitting down making this list here in front of me, I was just like, "Oh yeah, I guess that is a thing, and this and this and this." And it kind of culminated into a whole thing, and so I thought I should talk about it because again, I don't really see others really mentioning it. And maybe it'll allow us psychics to kind of be like, oh, hey, yeah, this thing, because it's just so specific and sometimes nuanced, but definitely bizarre with the line of work that we do and the energies that we feel. And so I guess first off, I do want to mention that I feel like maybe someone from the outside looking in, which, by the way, before I even say that, we are all capable of developing psychic gifts. I've just said that in other videos of mine here on this channel, that sometimes we have niches and different spiritual skills that come more naturally to us. Like, I know some people, it's crazy, they were just automatically good at herbology or automatically so in tune with astrology or whatever. People can tend to have these different talents, but anything can be developed, just like with anything else, just like with any job, any hobby, things like that. So anyway, I feel like psychics are kind of seen as, oh, it must be so nice to have all the answers all the time. Well, not only do we not have all of the answers all of the time, what else comes with that can be very overwhelming and overstimulating. So we're gonna get into it. Okay, so I think number one here is feeling the unconscious thoughts, limiting beliefs, and grievances of other people around us. Um, for me, that's my experience, and everybody's a little bit different, right? This is just kind of based on what I've felt, and it's hard because this kind of takes on the form of, like, say that someone in your family says that they're proud of you, says that they support you, but you feel like this weird underlying kind of resentment that might come from trauma or previous experiences. And a lot of times they're not aware of it, but it can hurt when you are so in tune as a psychic to be like, oh, well, I almost feel like the energy doesn't match their words right now. Um, that is just one example. I've also experienced it where it was like a romantic thing of like, um, I would say something and they wouldn't believe me, or they would say something to me and I wouldn't believe them because maybe there was some part, like a lower station of identity or like a lower egoic kind of wounded aspect of us that was still present that maybe we weren't fully aware of. And sometimes even the person sensing that isn't like, we can't fully put words to it. We can't fully be like, oh, well, this is your trauma coming out. Like, not only is that kind of, but a lot of times it is, at least for me, it's just a feeling. And I don't know how to explain it yet. Maybe spending time with it would allow those words to kind of come through, right? But it's just, yeah, it's like, I guess that's the main way that that comes out is the words not matching up with the energy. And then I've had it before where we've kind of gone back and forth, like, no, I healed this. No, I'm blah, blah, blah. And then they would be like, no, I feel that. So it's like, I don't know. So energy is very, very, lately, the image that's been coming to mind is like grains of sand, like granules. I call them granules. I can feel the little grains and I'm like, but there's grains, like there's this, there's that, and like they're so tiny. Like that's why I keep going like this, because it's little, like literal dust particles, but they're there. There's a thing in Keylontics called partiki. It is the smallest form. Please correct me in the comments. That perspective, that belief system is full of lingo and like very hard to understand stuff sometimes. It's just a lot and overwhelming. But it's the smallest particle, like the smallest form of like energy, the smallest structure of energy, partiki. So that's like, I guess, another way I can explain it. I feel the granules and I'm like, So yeah, it is just that's really hard. And so getting into the next thing here, and my list is over here, that's why I'm looking over here. Seeing multiple timelines and sometimes not knowing which one will manifest. And in the same vein of that, always wanting to know the answer and getting frustrated when what I like to call divine illusion affects me. Yes. So the thing about the answers thing, I don't know if other people have talked about this concept specifically yet, that I'm about to get into, but I call it divine illusion. And nobody's immune to it. No guru, no person on Instagram that claims that they know everything. Okay. Divine illusion is when we are led down a specific path by our guides so that we can get to a specific place on our path and or learn something that will help us. And sometimes that is like them telling us certain things and giving us certain downloads so that we're like, oh, okay, yes, this is true. I'm going to act in these ways. But then, things would fall apart in a certain way, or something wouldn't turn out the way that we had envisioned it or felt it, or perhaps maybe even our egos wanted it to turn out, right? But that was all an orchestration. And so, literally, it's like, it's hard when you're at a crossroads or a fork in the road or a transition, because you want to know the right one. Which one is like the actual one, spirit, okay? And you can clear all the stuff, you can do all the things, you can do all the modalities, but at the end of the day, no matter how pure or clear you are always being guided exactly how and where you are meant to. So you are going to know exactly what you need to know when you need to know it, no matter what. Does that make sense? So yeah, I feel like that specifically is something very much that people don't talk about, is like seeing all these timelines and being like, oh my gosh, which one is the right one? Which one is going to manifest? You can do all the things in the world, but it is a co-creation. I like to say and paint this picture of, it's 50% you and 50% spirit. It's not 75% you because you did this ritual or you bought this thing from somebody to like help put it in the direction that you want it to, which we do have say, of course, we do have free will, of course. I'm just saying, in my experience, it has very much been like 50-50%. Your 50% is like showing your preferences, is like doing whatever kind of rituals or practices that resonate with you to kind of have it go in the direction you want to go. You have free will. That is your choice. Up to the 50%. It's not 75, it's not 80. And then spirit, on the other hand, is not 75 or 80. It's perfectly half. So no amount of you pushing, this is what I'm trying to say, no amount of you pushing is going to make, like, this is gonna be this way. And, like, even before my spiritual journey, you guys, I would, like, pray and pray and pray and pray for certain things to happen, which newsflash, did not support me. And they wouldn't happen. Even though I would, like, hope and think, and technically, now that I think about it, back then I was engaging with certain manifestation techniques of like the visioning, like the mind movie, I would do that without even knowing what it was because I was like a kid. And it wouldn't play out because that was me trying to push past the 50% of like, oh, this is, I'm gonna control this. No, you don't have that level of control in that way, in these human forms. And it's supposed to be that way because we're having this experience and it's supposed to be fun and we're guided and it's cool. So, okay. Anyway, number 3, oh, it scrolled too much. Okay. So, okay, I just wrote this down. I'm just going to read it. The ethics, like for me, I don't like when I hear people have been given specific dates for big events such as passing. We are all constantly jumping timelines, and when you have something like that told to you, it can be sorry, I got a notification. It can and is very likely to change because of the nature of how the universe works. But if your nervous system hangs on to it from that very human level of anxiety or wanting to be prepared, it can make it more likely to happen. Yeah, I don't like that. Like my father, for example, and I know this was kind of years ago in the Chicagoland area, but he was told his passing day, okay? And evidence against this, my aunt was also told a passing day a couple years ago. And what's crazy is that she's a practitioner, she's a psychic herself. I think she was told that kind of in the beginning of her journey. But now, with the healing she's done, she's a Reiki master and she's certified in a couple other things. She has received divinely that that date has changed. And I think also she may have also received confirmation from another psychic that, yes, it has indeed changed. So it's like, imagine somebody who doesn't, or like, imagine people who don't tune in like that and can't receive those updates. And it's like they're hanging on and clinging on to this, oh no, oh no, oh no, because like, why wouldn't you? You want to be prepared, you're human. And then ultimately it might end up being sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy just because you're thinking about it so much. You know, I don't agree with that. I do not agree with telling the timing of like big, big, big things like that because stuff is changing all the time. Technically, according to science, every decision you make stems and branches another timeline, but I think that's kind of overwhelming. So I don't like to really say that. And I don't really particularly fully align with that either myself, but I do believe that we do switch timelines a lot, maybe even multiple times a day. I do believe that. So think about that. In that moment that you are receiving that reading is a very specific like chunk of time. And in that moment, you might be aligned to what they are tapping into and talking about. But then you could literally leave that studio or leave that store, and then you run into somebody on the street and then it completely changes, or you can't haul a cab so you call an Uber instead, like like and then it changes it. So it's like I don't agree with. I've never received tuning in for people. I have never received crazy dates like that, probably because I don't believe and I don't agree with providing that. So I receive what I call out, and this is also very important as a psychic, very intentionally, and being so specific with who and what you're connecting to among the multidimensional plane of divinity. And so I always say, if my client asks me, oh, is there a message that's coming through for me? I will say, what message is in alignment with their absolute highest best to receive at this time from their guides who are aligned to, who have their best interest at heart, you know, who are aligned to facilitating and supporting their absolute highest and best experience in this life. Like, that's so specific. So, yeah, it's no shade. I'm not trying to hate anybody. Please don't get the wrong idea. I do think that it can be harmful to people, to clients who are seeking guidance. Me as a psychic, I just don't agree with it. So, getting into the next one here, the frustration of your psychic battery getting low, which creates more effort for channeling, more steps in accuracy verification. Messages might be more vague. There's brain fog, so the mind is affected, and then feeling a physical weight in your head is the body being affected. Yes, this is so annoying. I've seen people pass out and have all sorts of symptoms happen to them, and my heart really goes out to them. I'm like, no, you guys, because you're doing work, you're helping people, or you're trying to figure something out for yourself, or you're actively working with the spirit. Here's the thing. I did a huge project, a huge ascension project a couple of years ago, and I was talking to a spirit, kind of like a therapy sort of situation, every day, pretty much, for years. So Oh my goodness, it didn't hit me until recently, actually. Even though that situation had ended and that person ascended years ago at this point, it's like I just realized now that, oh, maybe it's taking my abilities to be kind of, because it was years worth of channeling and years worth of working with this person. No wonder I'm still kind of feeling like I'm kind of getting it back in some ways when it comes to channeling specifically. When it comes to healing and other stuff, it's fine because in my mind, technically that's a different skill. But talking to spirits, writing stuff down, I can still do it. It just is, I can feel that brain fog. I can feel like this, um, yeah, I just feel just a fog. That's the best way I can explain it. And I used to be, during this project, very, very clear and very, very like bright light shining down upon me, and it's like clear as the clearest blue sky with no clouds in it. Like it was so powerful. And I kind of get myself down a little bit. I'm like, well, crap, like it's been a while at this point. But that also has to do with your self care, your nervous system regulation, your diet. I mean, a lot can kind of go into it. And I've been kind of navigating different ways of living in a more healthy way and living for myself for the first time, which is like a whole other thing, paving my own path. And so that's a lot. So I'm trying to just stay calm and know that I will kind of be brought back to that former glory when I'm meant to, you know? So another thing is receiving messages when you don't want them, aka at night and you're super tired trying to sleep. I saw this beach meme one time, and it was like a cartoon where it was like one picture was when you want to receive messages, and a guy was on the beach and like the sun was behind him, and he was like in a meditative pose. And then the next picture is when you actually receive messages, and he's like turned over in the dark in his bed, and there's like bags under his eyes, and he's like wide awake. That is so true. Uh, you enter different stages, like in the different stages of sleep, your brain is at different waves. And I believe the most powerful one is called the hypnagogic state, which is right between wakefulness and sleep. In that moment, those moments as you're just starting to tip over the edge of being asleep, falling asleep, you are incredibly susceptible to spiritual experiences time and time again. I have stories all over my channel, so please feel free to check that out if you're interested in knowing some of my specific happenings. But I can't even, I've lost count of how many times I've been like snapped awake and like put in a weird state where I kind of feel like jello and like hearing words in my ears, like literally as if I have an earbud in my ear, hearing talking, even feeling this is kind of rare, but feeling things touch me or me touching things, um seeing something in my vision like behind my closed eyes, like oh my god, or just being like straight up snapped awake and my physical eyes open and I see something standing in front of me. Oh my god, that's happened so many times. There's another meme that is like a video that showcases that, and it's featured on a lot of my other videos, so I'm not gonna insert it again because I use it a lot. But um yes, when you want to sleep, when your physical body's really tired but your soul has other plans, or there's something that's like, and it like comes into your freaking space, it's like blah. So another thing is learning to discern an intrusive, fearful thought from a genuine, intuitive download that comes as a warning. I think that's a really, sometimes I almost feel like for some people it's more obvious. Maybe some psychics watching this are like, "Oh, Olivia, like what? Like it's so obvious." Like, no, like, and sorry, I'm not I'm not trying to mock anybody. It's just you would think that they would be distinctive, but sometimes they're not. Um, if you are out someplace and you get a thought or like something that, because it's not a thought, that's the thing, downloads, but also intrusive thoughts. Unfortunately, there's no dialogue, there's no creation process, there's no like step A, step B, step C, this is the conclusion. It just shows up. So in that case, it's kind of like, oh crap, you kind of have to sit there for a second, tune into your core, tune into your what's it called, the verification process, whatever that looks like for you. That might be a pendulum, that might be rods, that might be sway test, solar plexus sway test, or muscle testing. And it might kind of slow the reaction time to act on that thing as you are trying to determine whether or not it's real. Yeah, so it's like, but I think that is important. And sometimes maybe it'll be super clear and maybe sometimes it won't. But verification is definitely really important, especially if it's like, ooh, that kind of came out of nowhere. I feel okay. I feel like I'm aware of my surroundings. Like, let's just take a second, like, stop moving. I think that helps. I've done that a few times. Like, literally stop what you're doing. Make sure you're kind of like in a safe place. To do so, and just be like, okay, where do I move now? What do I do? And I think that's probably enough. But yeah, I do think that's very interesting how like for example, I mean, there were times I talk about this and I mention this because I would receive something, but then it wouldn't happen. So it's like, oh, I guess that was just an intrusive thought that was fearful, you know? So, okay, just a few more things here. Oh, actually, just one more thing. I wrote one thing down twice. Oops. The limitations and how there's pretty much always room for error. For me right now, at least, if a word is said by a spirit that I've never heard, if it's some kind of unique nickname, a word in a foreign language, or even a word I just haven't heard in a very long time, I can't really bring it through. It's the same concept as not being able to describe a feeling accurately if you don't have a word to assign to it. You quite literally lack the vocabulary. Same thing here, but maybe that'll change eventually. That might be a me thing. If you're a psychic watching this, please let me know down in the comments if you also experience this, especially if you're a clairsentient. I am a clairsentient. Clairaudiences, I'm kind of jealous of you a little bit because you guys actually can physically hear what's being said to you, and so you can just kind of like totally relay it. But hey, if that's not the case, please correct me. But my understanding is that that is... because there's like 7 or 8 different clairs, clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, and a couple others, claircognizant. And that is the root of your psychic ability specifically. And so as a clairsentient, it's all based on feeling. The way that I like to describe it is it's like reading a book. You read the words on the page and you form the picture in your mind. That's what I do with energy. And so when I'm like hearing somebody speak, I'm like, oh, this is very endearing. Like, this is a very nice, they're calling them a nickname right now that might start with the letter A, but I don't, like, if it's something I've never heard, I have a really hard time bringing it through. So that is a little frustrating. I hope that that'll change over time, or maybe I'll develop the other clairs more, and then it'll be something I can do easier. But yes, I think that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you like the vertical, more casual videos like this. Not that my other videos aren't casual, but it's just a different look. I might be making a couple uploads like this just to see how it goes these next couple of times that I upload. Yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I do also have a ton of goodies in the description box, including all my links to all my stuff. So feel free to check that out as well. And I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.